Let me say a special good morning to all our listeners and viewers. Welcome to The Point. It's Monday, the 10th day of February 2025. And let me say good morning to those of you via our social media platforms, Facebook page, YouTube channels, GBN's webpage. Once again, have yourself a lovely day, and thanks for being with us this morning. Let me say good morning to, of course, it's not a good way to say it. Some folks will say it, but I just say it for the joke part of it. Partner in crime.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
folks, don't think otherwise.
Don't think it's real crime.
Don't think it's a real crime.
I know.
Let me say good morning to Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning to you, GT. Very, very, very pleasant good morning to you. And good to be here.
Yeah. Grenada celebrated 51 years of independence.
Yeah, 51 years of independence. 51. So we're going to still say congratulations to Grenada?
Yeah, we can still say that.
51 years?
Some folks will say, when the birthday gone, that's when they start celebrating.
Where were you when this process started, though, in 1974?
1974. Still a baby.
Well, I was, okay, you were a baby.
I was a baby, maybe about a little bit. Maybe about a little bit, a year or two, maybe.
Oh, okay, I was old enough then to have seen part of the process.
Okay.
Not too old then. I was a young boy, very young boy.
All right.
So I remember aspect of it. I remember parts of the crisis period in 1973, when there was the looting and the burning down and the Tongue of St. George, and then the whole process of getting the flag hoisted on the night of the 6th.
Yeah.
Right. And the 7th was Independence Day. It was really wonderful. I can recall that.
I have heard about the stories. I've listened to the individuals speak about it, especially my mom and stuff. She spoke a lot about that, how I experienced with it and so forth. So I have heard the stories a lot.
I remember one process very well, which I know generally was called the crisis period. That's what they used to call the crisis. And when things were not coming from Trinidad, goods and all that, when stores were shut down and you couldn't find food for a while.
Yeah.
And I remember I lived in St. Andrew for my boyhood days, and my uncle then did what you call wet sugar.
Yeah.
He did grind the regular sugar cane and boiled it, so we could boil it, so we could have used the wet sugar for real sugar.
Okay.
And so we used a lot of ground provision and vegetables during those times. And obviously we had the animals around that you could have eaten, gotten some meat. It was a difficult period. So I heard the period of the Gary era and the New Joel movement and all that. And so it's good to have been part of live history, and now you can come and look back in hindsight. As a young boy and then as an adult, you can speak about the experience, the positive and the negative. Grenada has come a long way.
They always say there's never a dull moment in Grenada.
No, man.
And there's we started from way back, island of conflict and everything else, and to where we are today. 51 years, and I'm appreciative that we have come thus far.
Yes.
We have come thus far.
And I was saying a couple of days ago, I want to see what happened in the next 50 years, the next 50 celebration.
I will be around for that.
So I'm looking forward.
I'm going to be around for that for sure. I ain't planning on going anywhere. So
no, I'll be disappointed if I have to exit before that. But I'm looking forward for the next 50 years to see how far we've gone, and my memory should be able to recollect from the time the flag was hoisted and 100 years on.
Maybe we could talk if I maybe have any. My children say they want no children, so I may not have grands. So if I do have grandchildren, maybe I could talk to them about that.
Yes.
About that, and really happy to express how we feel about this little island of ours.
Great. Great.
So let's go through the process. You, sir, always given that comprehensive overview of the parade and so forth, along with your co-hosts who were there with you. Of course, we had Ms. Hazard and, of course, Mr. Simon there with you also doing that. I looked at it. I pay attention to it. So I didn't come to the stadium, actually.
Right.
I stayed home and followed it via the television for a bit, almost right down to the part with the fireworks and the drone show and so forth. I watched up to that. And all of your take on this year's, independence celebration, sir.
Yes, and I am not speaking in the capacity of representing any entity at this point.
Yeah.
That would be my own personal expression and impression of the whole thing. But first of all, I want to, express congratulations to the entire planning committee, chairman of the organizing committee and all that in the committee. There was a plan, and you could have seen that the plan was executed.
Yes.
So I want to congratulate them for that, because in my opinion, they achieved what they set out to achieve. And the other congratulation goes out as well to the awardees. Fitting, it was awards that were distributed from 2022 up to 2025.
Okay.
So
that's why the period, for the lengthy period of it.
That account for the lengthy period of the awards, which people said they thought was stretched.
Yeah.
But it had to have been because 2022 to now, it's quite a number of persons to be recognized. And the person who were awarded posthumously and so forth, people who had gone on and all of that, it is really good to see that after people have left and otherwise, that their family could receive awards on their behalf. And it's the same thing that we were saying to earlier on, I think in the program before, that we give flowers while people are alive. And you give people accolades and everything else at a younger age and stage when they may have made a particular years of contribution. You want to be able to show that national appreciation so that they could live through it and people could relate to their contribution while they are alive. And then the program itself, the entire activities, and it happened. The crowd at the National Stadium. There was a bubble between 50 years and 51. 50 was remarkable. There was a great hype, and so I'm sure people were looking forward to a similar. And that was unrealistic, basically. So after you've gone that high, how do you maintain that level, and how do you expend that amount of money the next year on? So there was a balance.
I think 50 was, we had a lot of visitors coming to the island.
Great.
A lot of Grenadians, returned for the 50th.
Yes.
There was a lot of folks who came back, especially folks out there in the diaspora from different parts of the world, who came back just for that.
And some wanted the $50 too. They came for
all of that. But maybe we may not have had that amount of return folks coming back this year.
Yes.
For the 51st, for various reasons. You understand? But I think that maybe that what you mentioned, a little bit of bubble between.
Yes.
That could have been primarily the reason for. We had hundreds of folks returning last year.
That's correct.
Just for the 50th.
And then the size of the crowd, well, let me first commend the positive image of it, the great look, the colors and all of that. And it was really nice to see even tourists. Persons who are not from here in our national colors. That is a look forward, and it's always really a pleasant, splendid sight to see visitors and other people, sporting the national colors. And that was good. It was, again, the location, it was the Kirani James Athletic Stadium, because it was a smaller activity basically, and the other reason being that the cricket stadium was under renovation. So it was unavailable for that occasion. And so people might have been thinking, well, that stadium there is a bit smaller and everything else. They probably will take it in on radio and television. And the other thing they say to us too is that you guys do such a good job on the commentary and all that. The footage that people show, the imagery is so cool that you can listen to the commentary and you can look at the image in the comfort of your home or workspace if you have
and you get that right there feeling of it also. I would say that, because it was on the ball from what is taking place, so you understand as you look along on the television, you are understanding what's in, especially when you're doing a commentary for the match pass and so forth, the parade per se, you understand exactly what's taking place. So that was okay. Okay.
And Her Excellency was also very gracious in her colors. She's very consistent in terms of.
She goes all the way out.
She go all the way out. Last year was full top to bottom in gold, and this year she chose the red, and she incorporated with a slash of the yellow, and then her shoes was green and all that. She's a really proper representative, of the British monarchy and their prominence in Grenada. And then our Prime Minister came out very unique in his attire, and obviously once he comes out, people would have their comments. They always look forward to see what the Prime Minister would wear, what the Governor General would wear, and so forth, and that too was really good. But what was one of the more moving thing, and again I want to commend them, that they had this I think there was a business entrepreneur, Dangote, who came in and made some remarks, and he highlighted agriculture as one of the part, which was really really good to ensure that, he was saying indirectly he was going to be lending his support to resuscitating agriculture and everything else.
That'll be good.
And the other things can really follow.
I mean, knowing that his capability on the financial side of things and the knowledge that he has, that he's doing in his country, especially on that level, was certainly something that we will appreciate here.
And his comments were so good, well structured, despite he had the accent of the African, but we understood it, and this is one reason I think when he was so good in his remarks that when Prime Minister came on, actually, he didn't have much to say.
Not much to say.
Not much to say.
It's been a while. I haven't seen a Prime Minister not speak at length at an independence celebration.
To give the, what do you call it, feature and major address.
You'll get that speech that will run sometime 15-20 minutes from a Prime Minister, and then you saw it was pretty short but precise to the point, and.
And sometimes those Prime Ministers, they use an opportunity to get their mileage on the ground as well, what their administration would have achieved and all of that throughout the period. And so they use it to keep a momentum or to gain some mileage as you move into transitioning sometimes elections and all that. So they want to ensure that they keep what they do in the face of the people kind of afresh and so on. I don't think we saw that. We saw like it was a nationalistic issue occasion, and the national issues were really highlighted.
Put to the forefront.
We'll just put to the forefront and left it at that, so we can build from that. And the moving aspect of it was Her Excellency and the Prime Minister, how they integrated with the crowd. The Prime Minister, you could have seen him getting a little bit tired, but he was not refusing people from doing the photos. His security was there, and they were trying to OPM where we need to go, and maybe his escorts and everybody else, and he was just every walk of life. That was moving to see people just wanting to take pictures with him. And Her Excellency, she was there, and she was coming down, meeting everyone, greeting people. I met her even in the lobby, walking around. She was still talking with people and taking pictures and so on, even after things was coming down. So that again was great.
There are countries where political individual of that status can't do that, right?
Oh no, I mean the level of risk associated
associated with just the public in that manner.
Yes,
especially at an event of that nature. There are countries where that just can't take place.
And in some instance, it also shows the bridging of a different kind of gap. Where you, as a state official, do not have to make yourself feel unreachable or beyond, that people do not have that access to you. So when people seem that you are personable, they can have access to you, you can be embraced, they can shake a hand,
they can approach you.
It says a lot.
And it's like you be that ordinary individual at a particular time. When you have to show your statehood, you transition to that.
It says a lot about us as a kind of people. It also speaks of our level of security and comfort and safety in terms of how people are able to interact. And in other places, people are not allowed to get so close to the head of state because of the level of risk associated. But we can be proud of our security apparatus and elements here in Grenada, that we can create that environment generally across our society, that our state officials, they can feel free to move around, they can even drive their own vehicles, they can Her Excellency is at the supermarket, Prime Minister is at social events and all these. It says, Grenada, we have a beautiful country, and let us really embrace it. And as we come down to the other side of the activities with recommendations and so forth, I want to also commend the RGPF and all of the units who were, and new Commissioner of Police. I mean, he did us proud. The deputy and all of that. He was the parade commander last year, and he's commissioner this year. I mean, it was so moving to see him, embrace the opportunity and did that with some grace, poise, and elegance. And that too is something that we have to be proud of. And the men and women in uniform, they gave us the display. The children, the ancillary groups that came on, the Pathfinders, the Girl Guides and Rangers, etc., and the Cadet Corps, they too must be highly commended.
I like that. You seem like a lot of practice went into. Over the years, sometimes if you really pay attention to the parade, you will see that it was not uniform in some reason or the other. But I looked at it this year, and the uniformity of the marching and stuff was on key. Even for the of course, as you mentioned in your commentary, the platoon who are just platoons and so forth. They were all in sync. And sometimes there are folks who are just totally off. You can see there was a lot of practice went into it.
The rehearsals were.
And I like that. I like that part of it.
And we have to give commendations to congratulations to Fourth Sergeant Major Inspector Noel and his assistant, Mr. Philip. They put a lot of effort into that. I really, really want to commend him. I'm looking forward to officially to see Constable Philip get those stripes on his shoulder as well for the fantastic job he has done. So I hope Commissioner is listening that he will give him his little rank.
You know, another note, there's something I noticed also that I want to commend, of course, the organizers for. You know, there are times the Independence celebration, especially with the parade, and you don't ever hear the commands from of course the commanders in charge. The in charge and so forth.
Right.
And I like whoever sorted out the audio part of it. You could have actually heard what they were saying and stuff like that. Sometimes you only see the mouth moving and stuff, but you don't hear anything.
Right.
So I like whoever did the organizing this year. You were able to hear and understand what the different commands were happening on the field.
And that's an added innovation or progression to what happened over the years in ensuring that. And we at broadcast room as well, we had to be able to be in sync with what was happening on the ground, because we wanted viewers and listeners to understand what was going on and not just the lips miming and so forth. So where there was that aspect of it, I came in a lot more in previous because people were not able to hear. This time is a lot easier because the ground commands and the narrating, everything, the audio was okay, the connection and the linking. Again, congratulations to the production team that brought it, and the drone team as well. So they were able to put that link between it. So as we go forward, we can see us just increasing in terms of the quality of the product. But I must say the other side of it before we kind of switch.
We on flow.
Right. Okay. Good. So obviously, we give the flowers, the good things, and we have to give the other area that we think need to be enhanced. And so our parades over the years, one of the things I think we need to be able to do is to create more innovations on parades.
Yes.
So there are some things, especially with the police and so forth. Over the years, for 39, 40 years, I attended parades, and they do the same weapon,
continue routine all the time.
The same route match in terms of the weapons. There are so many weapon movements that one can do. There is the slope arms, the port arms, the recover arms, the secure arms, and all of that. And my recommendation is that they look at that aspect of it on the parade side of it. And so maybe units can do different arm drills. They can do a change of arm on the mat with one unit. They can do a secure arm with another. They can do a port arm with another. They can do a recover arm. They could do a shoulder arm. So you look forward to each unit as they march past. They give you probably a different display. So and people look forward to that. And we think you can put a text in, you can put your pot on fire if you understand the parades over the years and say, this is what they're going to do. They're going to recover arms and they're going to put arms on the next move. They're going to go in slow time and then they're going to go in quick time and they're going to do this. So it becomes a bit one track. And despite, again, let me commend the two champagne cups where they were celebrating 51 years and still celebrating the commissioner coming in as well. So it's a double celebration. Those little innovations are good. But people look forward to not the 50-year and the significant milestone celebrations, but people look forward to what is different, what can I see, what should I look forward to. And I think when we have independence, every time the planning committee plan, every time the military people do a parade, sort of their planning, you should look, what different are we bringing to the people, what would they want to look forward to.
Instead of just reenacting from previous years and previous years all the time.
And they look for the band and the trooping of the band and all of that. And I hope that they may have had some more innovation. People look for the dancing and the antics and so on. Personally, I don't really support all of the dancing and all of the antics in uniform. I believe that when you're in a ceremonial dress, that you should carry some level of respect. That's my personal view. And that the dancing and the winding sort of a thing and so forth, in my personal view, I don't think it really goes with the uniform. And some people may want to disagree with that. But I think there's lots more innovations and movements that you can do that can thrill the crowd, that doesn't have to look. I mean, they say it's modern day and you integrate it. I think if you're doing a military concert or you're doing something, even if you have that, it's okay, in my opinion, for them to be able to do that. But when you go on your significant birthday celebrations, when you have all of the other things, I think it has to be regimented, military-oriented, and you do a lot of military displays that can have that same kind of pomp and ceremony that people will give you that awe. And then the day itself. I would love to see Independence celebration go back to the morning, and I would recommend that all of the drone display and the fireworks that it be brought in on the Colors Day. So a lot of the cultural activities and some of the things that you do on the afternoon that seem to make the program extended, my recommendation would be you do some of them on the 6th, leading up into the afternoon, the evening, so by 6 p.m. into the dark, the children can get to see the drone display. Because you keep the children down there to 10 o'clock at night sometime to see the drone display, and maybe it's an anti sort of. So in my thing, you can do a lot of the activities into Colors Day, cultural activities. You do the drone display into the evening, and you have other activities going up to midnight. And at midnight, you do your fireworks and everything else, and you bring in the 7th, which is like, we do this for all years.
Yeah.
We go to all years party,
we bring in the New Year.
Then all the fireworks take place at midnight, and you bring in the New Year. I think we should do a similar thing for Independence celebration. We're going to get a feedback from members, persons later on, who may want to support or not agree with me. But I think a lot of the things that go on, you go into the celebration the 6th, into the 7th, massive fireworks into the night. You reel over into the next morning, people go home. And by first thing, 9 o'clock on the morning is the military parade.
Yes.
So you go down to the military parade. It is very short and nice. And by midday, you can get to go back to your home, enjoy the rest of the day with your family. You can go to the beach, have a cook-up, have some other activities, and you get a full, in my opinion, 100 celebration for the Grenadiers. But that's one aspect of it. And I think it can be given some consideration. I was part of parades for many, many years, and the morning time, it was really nice. You prepare yourself really early, you go out, and the rest of the day, you get it to go to the beach or to do something.
I'm listening to some of the recommendation that you suddenly have put out, and I'm thinking if some thought has been put into it, it could make a whole lot of difference.
Yes.
I've never thought about the part where you say from the 6th, the midnight of the 6th, into the 7th, you have that, so it rings in the
but stick that point, GT. When the first flag was hoisted for Grenada's independence, it was hoisted at midnight.
Yeah.
With mass and tow and vehicle lights. And that could be symbolic and significant then that we are continuing into that vein of bringing in a significant milestone to us, an achievement. So the evening of the 6th, we go there and we anticipate, and then the flag gets hoisted, similar to what happened 51 years ago, and people have this massive celebration. So even if you didn't get to do other things, but you get to be part of that, and you set up, you have your nice drinks and everything else, and you hang out.
I'm liking the ideas that you put forward. I wish someone from the organizing committee could have been sitting here with us this morning.
They probably will.
They probably will hear sitting with us this morning and listening to the recommendations. If it's doable, it's doable. What can't be doable, then sometimes not all recommendations are doable.
Yeah.
You understand? But if it's doable, you implement it. I want to see something different. Because I did ask the chairman of the committee the other day when they were here together with the minister, what they would like to see different, what they would like to do different about our independence celebrations.
Right.
And they were saying, there's not much they could do, but different minds coming together could recreate things in a different way, in a different format. You understand?
Yeah, tell them
sometimes it's sometimes, when the same clique of individuals doing the same thing, they don't see beyond what they've been thinking before.
Yes.
And you always need fresh ideas.
Yes.
To get a different feel of what it is.
Yes. And this is one of the reasons why you always have fresh minds and eyes on things.
Yeah.
And even as we do the broadcast and the narrative, we kind of factor in other people that can get a feel of what's happening, and so you can have the transitioning processes, and you can always be building on things and have differences and innovations incorporated in activity. And I think people should be open to ideas from not just thinking, but just a few of us.
Yeah, somewhere we could do that, so we do that. We
can do it different.
It becomes more, it becomes where it stays at that level always.
Yes,
because everyone remains at the level of what they know.
Yeah.
You understand? And if new individuals join in, then it monks. You understand?
And the village activities and the community activities and what's happening in St. Andrews and all of that, all these could be incorporated across.
A lot of tweaking, you see bits of tweaking in between to just enhance the product even more.
Yes.
Because I was saying, younger folks in Grenada, in my opinion, not getting the thrill of independence.
Right.
If you get the direction I'm going at.
Right.
Especially the folks that let's say someone in their 20s and so forth. Mm-hmm. They're not getting that thrill. That's where you see the minimum participation participation from especially young people.
Right.
Because of the routine factor in which it takes place on a yearly basis.
Right.
But if it more is incorporated, that's why the village activities seem to be what attracted them more than wanting to come to the stadium.
Correct.
You understand?
Yes.
Or come to the stadium, or even just come out and be part of the parade. Because even though you watch the parade marching along the Melville Street area to the stadium, yes, there are some folks who are looking on.
Yeah.
But I remember then that is to be the thing that folks wanted to see.
Right.
You will watch individuals stacking along the sidewalks watching, and then I'm not saying there was not anyone this year, but it was minimal to what you will see in the past.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So
that again, and we believe as well that while it is a national activity taking place in St. George along the picturesque Melville Street going up towards the National Stadium, we believe we can expand that to a point where our drone caption could pull in other aspects of Grenada.
Yes.
So while we await the military and everything happening, we can pull in footage and show other things happening across. I'm not too sure.
And with the technologies at the level it's at today,
we can be able to.
You could actually view an activity taking place in Grenville, something taking place in St. Mark, the entire island, even the sister islands of Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
That's correct.
What's taking place on Independence
So that
Day.
national pull together, we can work on that. And we moved to the south of the island on the evening of the 8th.
Yeah.
And there was a concert.
Yeah. I didn't get to attend.
That brought some of the cultural activities, the religious activity was there. Pastor Stanford Simon and Minister Andy Williams and so forth. And the people of the South, I think the Country Choir and all that, and the St. George's Baptist Church, they were part of putting all of these together. And that was also a well-received event that brought out additional aspect of our cultural heritage and the relevance of independence to us at a constituency at that district level, and I think we can see more of these activities happening across country. But one of the follow to that, the following morning, which was I think Sunday when I passed it, or even up to last night, it's unfortunate that the people left the garbage hanging around where they sold some stuff, and the dogs had it strewn around. That is very unsightly, and I think for future events and events across Grenada, that when people do that, they clean up after themselves
immediately after the event.
And our garbage technicians and so forth, they do a fantastic job, a fine job across country in keeping us Solid Waste Management Authority. They do a fine job externally getting things done. But when there are particular events where people are responsible, we think they should take their responsibility and make sure that happens. So that was a letdown. It was a great concert and so forth, but the end state of it, where that was left unsightly, it kind of pulled away a little bit from it.
All right. So McIntyre, of course, that's what we're going to make this preview of our review of the Independence celebration of good. We give some more, of course, hope that some of our recommendations could take effect in the years to come.
Yes.
Maybe not all of it that we mentioned, but aspects of it could be, tweaked into it and make a difference.
Absolutely.
So hope make a completely difference in terms of what we see on a yearly basis, and it could work.
Yes. And when we get to the segment where we're going to allow a little bit more for the callers to integrate with us, maybe we'll have a little bit of feedback. We don't want to beat on it.
We don't want to be drawn out on it too much. As I said, it's just your personal recommendation. There's nothing official in relation to it.
We're not representing
There's nothing official in terms of that. It's just
and that's not the view of GBN
either. That's so true. So let's take a break, and when we come back, we're getting to, of course, our usual conversations. Stay with us, folks. To the Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
Are you ready for the ultimate celebration of love? Saturday, February 15th, Love Fest takes over the breathtaking Quarantine Point Recreational Park from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Live band performances from Boise and the Bad Squad Band, Ajamo, Cole Baldio, Solid the Band, Pan Wizards, plus DJ Danny, Mr. Cheeks, and Fearless Kevon. Indulge in chocolate making, candle making, outdoor dining, live Latin dancing, Cupid's Playground, a singles mixer, beauty bar, Love Fest shop, and a cocktail and drinks bar. Get your tickets now. Just $100 for one, $180 for two at Grenadian Optical, Melville Street and Spiceland Mall, Eventbrite, or GoToFet.com. Or pay more at the door. Visit www.yourlovefest.com for updates or follow at Your Love Fest on social media. See you at Love Fest, Saturday, February 15th at Quarantine Point Recreational Park.
Grenada is indeed beautiful and worth exploring. We firmly believe that you should be allowed to do so. Why not explore Grenada with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours? Whether you decide to explore Grenada with your family, spouse, or large group of friends, we are ready to welcome you. Our tours are guaranteed to leave you with wonderful memories of Grenada if you are visiting, and excitement if you live here. Book a tour with us now by visiting our website www.jamessvcs.com. Call 1473-442-3769 or email info@jamessvcs.com. James Services Corp Off-Road Tours.
I am Dennis James Williams, owner and director of James Services Corp. Looking forward to welcoming you to the beautiful island of Union to explore with James Services Corp Off-Road Tours. See you soon.
Explore our beautiful island of Grenada from an angle that is unique and off-road, but equally fun. We are 100% family-friendly tours.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. We have Mr. Sylvan McIntyre with us this morning. Our usual conversation on a Monday. Our first segment, we just had to do that little bit of a review as relates to, the independence celebrations. We showed out the recommendation and so forth. We always have to talk about, safety, road safety and so forth. That's always be our pivotal, conversation every Monday. Safety in general and safety is your take on the aspects of safety, especially on our roads. During that festive season, I got a ticket yesterday too.
Yeah. I got it last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, and somehow I got caught off guard. I usually always wear my seatbelt.
Yeah.
And somehow I thought it was Sunday evening and I'm driving. Yeah. And so I didn't make a big fuss about it. I accepted my ticket and I just told the officer, I'm sorry, but I still got a ticket. But it's understandable. So I mean, they're doing what they have to do. Yeah. And it's always not the way that you have to show any resistance when it comes to that. You understand? I was wrong. I just accepted and move on. When time comes around, I'll pay it.
I had an unfortunate situation too where I was ticketed for one of my tires. Yeah. The vehicle obviously had a problem with either the steering ends or
he was cutting
on the inside. So I wasn't quite aware of that. Okay, I was deep on the inside. And so I was pulled up and told, as I came out, I looked at it, I said, oh wow, I didn't even realize it was that serious. And I was ticketed for it. I said, thank you. I went off to the court and paid my ticket really nicely and said,
I have some time, so I only got it yesterday, so I have some time to pay that. But it's understandable. So folks, I will always say, make sure you wear your seatbelts.
Yeah.
You understand? It's a law that you do so. And I accept that.
Right.
People see that. So let's talk about, of course,
general road safety. And I will make specific reference at some points.
Yeah.
So there is a process called PMCS, it's Preventative Maintenance Checks and Services.
Yeah.
That's actually a military terminology that speaks to ensuring that you check your vehicle and all of that for efficiency and for safety issues on the road, which include the integrity of your tires, your brakes, your lights, and everything else. And we happen to have alluded and spoken about aspect of that in the past.
Yes.
But it is something that we cannot speak too much about in terms of safety. And I saw, as recent as this morning, an accident where a vehicle apparently applied its brakes. There was down a hill, and there was a line of traffic. And whether it was the vehicle brake itself, whether it was the condition of the road or the condition of the tire, that vehicle skated a few meters downhill and banged into the back of another vehicle. And there could be a few factors that happen to be responsible for that. One, the tires need to have certain what you call the grip on them. It has to be at a certain level so that it takes traction on the surface. And there's also another process when rainfall, it is called hydroplaning. That means that the water gets between those grooves on the tire, and it can give some level of limited it could take away the traction, and in some cases create some unstable area for the surface of the road and the tire itself, so your vehicle can veer off. So that is one of the reasons why it is important that tires and so on, it's not just a traffic violation, but regulations are designed for, in general cases, for the safety of persons. So that's why when vehicles are on road, one must check the integrity of the tire to ensure that it has particular traction on it that it can stand. And the other thing one has to always do as well is to check your brake. The brake fluid low indicates that your brake itself is going down. And when one has to pump the brake more than one time, it says that you may have problems in your master cylinder. And despite you have vehicles that have electronic means or otherwise, that regular traditional old means of having a master cylinder with a kit and with rubbers on the inside still exists. Now, when those rubber feel a bit, you realize that when you need to hold on, it doesn't give you the traction, so the vehicle will run for a bit. And I've heard of situations where people apply the brake, and because the air pockets within that cylinder limited the fluid from getting to the point where you can get traction to the brake shoe itself, they ended up in accident. So it is important that you test your brake. If you pump it a couple of times and it is going down while the pressure is on it, it means that something is wrong. And there's another factor that is responsible, again, that when you change the brake in the vehicle, that some people do not release the pressure or the air in that master cylinder or through the brake line. So they would change the brake, put fluid, and they just get onto the street. Well, it's important to ensure that your maintenance person, the mechanic himself, he call the process called bleeding, so that you pump and press the air out until when you pump it stays hard and the brake pedal stays up. And so when you get on the road, that when you apply the brake, as you touch on that pedal, it's expected to hold. If you're not getting that vehicle should get checked. And so that's an aspect of road safety that we've seen where people end up, they would apply the brake, and for a couple of reasons. One, the surface might be wet, especially when you have little rain that falls. So when you apply the brake, it would skate and run. So another factor is the driving distance between vehicles and so on has to be maintained. That 30 feet that the original highway code speak of, it should be maintained, and it's there for a reason.
I agree with you. Yes. For some reason, I practice that a lot. Because of seeing how individuals will just, how people will stop in front of you sometimes. So I always try to maintain that 20-foot distance. Some people may feel, well, I had this person so far in front of me. But sometimes, people will just give you that sudden stop. And suppose if you were just a foot or so behind an individual, people like to call it these bumper-to-bumper driving, which I don't entertain at all. You understand? So I give that distance just in case someone in front of you may be paying attention to your driving, but that other individual in front of you may just give you that sudden stop for various reasons. You understand?
So I talked about raising this as a road safety concern this morning, as I'm going to mention a couple others. We've seen a lot of bumper to bumper driving and rear hits. And there are few reasons for that. We have much more vehicles, many more vehicles on our streets, and so people tend to want to drive closer. The other factor, we have people who do not always understand how they should cross the streets, pedestrian crossing. So I had an event only I think it was yesterday or the day before. I saw some people crossing on a sidewalk. Not the sidewalk, they were going through a pedestrian cross. So a bus stopped which should not, in the first instance, just short of the pedestrian crossing. He should have stopped on the bus stop. So he stopped in front of the bus stop, and the people came out, and they were just walking across the pedestrian crossing. They did not look left, they did not look right, and I was coming behind that bus. So as I was coming and passing the bus going forward, I saw these people crossing in front of the bus, and they were not looking left or right. So I said to them, I said, ma'am, you should look for oncoming traffic as well. And one of the person remarked to me, if we not look, you look out for us. And I was like, I took a laugh at it. But it's a fact, but the attitude in which she came out is meaning that, you know what, we crossing, it is your responsibility to see that we are safe. The point is, I think the police made it a couple of weeks ago. That it's a responsibility of pedestrian as well as a driver to ensure that you are safe. I don't see vehicles lying down on hospital beds.
So true. You should ask, the police actually said that you should, of course, alert the vehicle or who's approaching you that you want to cross.
Yes.
And then when the vehicle comes to a stop, then you do the crossing.
You must try to get the attention of the driver.
You let them, hey, put a hand signal or some reason to let them know you intend to cross.
Right.
And not just feel, as you mentioned, some of us have the idea, well, bunks minute.
Yes. Yes.
That's clearly sometimes you get from an individual. They will just cross it and watching you, while they're crossing, like,
while the driver may be in problem for driving without due care and attention for hitting somebody on a pedestrian cross, but the damage will be already done. That person, it might be a fatal accident. It might be an accident where you may lose a limb, or you may be incapacitated by someone where you end up with a limp, or your back get damaged and you cannot sit or walk upright without pain and so on in the future. Even if you may get a few $1,000s compensation for somebody driving without due care and attention, by the end of the day, does it worth it? It makes sense trying to get the attention of the driver, the oncoming vehicle, before you cross. So while the bus driver stop, the wrong thing, the right thing sometimes they do is put their hands and give you some slow down signs that people are crossing.
Not everybody look at that. And some people are disgusted with the bus driver and say, you shouldn't stop in the first instance of crossing, I'm going. So they try to drive past the driver there, and then the pedestrians are not looking to see this oncoming traffic. So that was one aspect of it. So we're continuing on the whole aspect of the road safety factor, and we touch on ensuring that there is this maintenance check on your brake. And for those persons who have been driving, especially women, who are not sometimes in tune to that aspect of the brake and realize, but my brakes is a bit soft, I don't know why it is soft, that could be one of the factors. Your master cylinder could be giving problem, and your brakes was not bled properly so that you can get the air out so that it can hold. So if you're not getting that immediate traction on it, it means that you have some problem. You need to get it checked out. And the other factor I mentioned is the quality of your tires, to ensure that they are proper so that you can get the traction on the street when you go out. All right. The other thing I would like to mention, some of the impediments to safety on our streets, maintenance and the lack thereof. Yeah. Somebody sent me a photo recently of an aspect of the street that is Howard Blaze Street. That's just opposite Bailey's Funeral Home, and that section, I think there's a security. There was some work done there, and there was an area that was left uncovered. It is like a drain where sometimes you put these. They're kind of cordoned off with some tape or something. No, I think.
Yes. But that same area. Yeah. And that problem has been there for about more than 3 weeks. Somebody sent me that picture. It is a hazard.
It's more than 3 weeks since after the
wall went down.
Reopened. It's been left like that.
So that aspect,
and that's been done since sometime last year.
That aspect really need to be checked out and to be corrected. It's really a hazard. It is a danger to people, and very often people say, "Well, you should look where you're going and you should watch." But there are times that the people who are supposed to take up these maintenance practices, they take too long before they correct aspects of defaults and deterioration in our walkways. In most cases, our tongues and our streets, the buildings are built right into the road, so there's limited walk space. And in areas where some of those walk spaces are created, they are not well maintained.
Yeah.
And we've seen enough times people end up walking on these things, their foot slip, they twist, they end up with sprains and so forth, and that is unnecessary. That aspect we need to be able to be a bit more on, and our road maintenance team, I think we need to have more environmental wardens and road safety people who would look out. Your responsibility is to look out for that and to have corrective measures be done in short time.
I think it should be, you're correct. I think know that the authorities know that there are more vehicles on the road. Mm-hmm. Aspects of road maintenance should be beefed up more than it should be.
Correct.
It's not Grenada 30 years ago.
No.
You understand? Where there were limited amount of vehicles on the roads. If you check it out to know there's thousands of vehicles on the road on an hourly basis or whatever.
Yes.
So they know they have to beef it up.
Yes.
And pay attention to these things on a regular basis.
Yeah.
We allow things to deteriorate too much before we look into it and have some repairs done.
Yes.
You understand? I know there are folks in authority who pass in certain areas and see something deteriorating for months. Mm-hmm. You understand? And not filled until we have some folks in the regular citizens started to talk about it. Then we see some action taking place.
Yes.
So you tell me you being part of the Ministry of Works or whatever, and you're not seeing these things are supposed to be taken and write a note and say maybe that should be looked into.
Yes.
If you get the direction I'm going with this.
Yeah, I
not wait only till the citizens that speak about it and someone go on social media and take a picture of it and put it up. Then we see some action taking place. Somebody
mentioned before that we are a bit too reactive.
And that's so true.
We would wait for something to become a conversation before we deal with it. Emerging issues, those big trucks. Yeah. I spoke to Commissioner of Police and some of the hierarchy of the RGPF. They know they have a job on their hand, and he has assured me that there is something in train to be able to deal with that. Those guys with those trailer beds,
yes,
and the XL trucks, the Sacram and the Mack trucks and all of these and so forth, and the menace and the hazards and the intimidation and other things that they are doing and the traffic violations. Commissioner has a way of soon time to deal with that.
I think one factor of it is time.
We have an expanded conversation. As you mentioned time, let me raise 2 points before we accept callers during this last segment.
When I saw the time, I was speaking in times when these vehicles are permitted to be on
mm-hmm. That's exactly where I'm going.
You understand?
So there are a couple of things that are happening with time. One, they should be regulated to a point where they should have given time to move. But that is another program that we're going to have. I'm having a discussion with a concerned person tomorrow to discuss specifically that aspect. The I'm Safer, we will be taking that as something that we need to push forward to amplify the issue, to raise the concerns, and to get citizens to clamor a bit more for that aspect to be corrected. So we're holding a meeting tomorrow to discuss those issues so that we can bring it to the fore so that it could be dealt with. But you mentioned time. 2 pieces of road activities that are currently undertaken. The strip between the KFC and the playing field in Grandlands, right?
Yes.
That's one. They scripted just around the Independence time, and there was this big event that was going to happen on the weekend. I love to see that it was done rapid. They pulled it off. I'm hoping that that will be resurfaced in quick time as well, so that it limits the inconvenience that over an extended length of time in that area. It's an important artery in the south that need to be corrected. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of notice, if any at all, that was going to be undertaken. And I'm hoping that the work that they're going to do there as well, that they're going to try to do it. You mentioned time. Yeah. At a later time when there's little traffic movements in the south of the island. The other area of concern, at 9 p.m., 8:30 in the morning, folks are on that other artery between Deco Station and the old Coke Factory end, or the Coke Factory end. And while they have the flag women and the stop and go, it makes limited sense around that time of the day, that important strip of road that serves into the city, that drain that been there at the back wall and so on that they're trying to create. Why not get those massive lights and so on? Get it late at nights when limited traffic happening in that area, and you can have more productivity. It will cost you less because you'll have, while somebody needs to eat a food like the flag women with a stop and go. But during the process of late time between
say midnight and 4
a.m., you get a couple of hours in. and you have limited movements,
less obstruction.
That makes sense. I was going through that area, and I want to say, what really is happening?
I mean, I pass it every morning, Mr. Mike.
And from Mars Hill coming down here.
It's always a problem every morning in terms of that stop. A few mornings the police was there trying to traffic, but then it's what done 2 mornings and they don't come back.
They need to change that.
You understand?
They need to change that.
You know, nobody thinks about, I don't know why we always think that it's an 8 to 4 country that we have to work between 8 and 4 to get things done, especially with the construction and stuff like that.
And finally, in terms of road safety, that strip of road, the Morris Bishop Highway, continue to be of concern. With the sidewalks not created on the left towards the airport, we're hoping that they're going to do this in quick time, and that overpass that we're waiting to see happen. I look at police officers still placed on that road, trying to have people cross, and the students. If you count the years, the 15, 20 years that strip of road has been established, if you count the hours, the manpower hours that it costs to put a police officer or police officers there to track people, you realize it cost 1 and maybe 1.5 overpass in terms of the cost to put an overpass, the manpower cost for having somebody stand there, that could exceed it.
Yes.
And so it made good sense to put more effort into getting that overpass. I see people running across that strip of road, children, adults, etc., and that risk continues to exist. The last aspect of it, accidents coming from the Morris Bishop Airport towards the Sugar Mill roundabout. That roundabout on the Sugar Mill end, it gets hit so many times. There was a USAID sign that possibly that shows the mileage and the direction into and out of St. George and so on. That sign gets hit so many times that people speeding from that bottom end coming all the way across. I've seen it. I live right not too far from that area, so I understand the number of accidents that happen there. So could we consider then some way of either the cameras, police presence or otherwise, or the extreme time when people try to race on that strip of road at night when vehicles run all the way across and they move that piece of... We don't want another fatality, please, on that strip of road. It needs some kind of intervention. Something has to be done about that speeding, especially coming from the airport side when vehicles run straight across. They lick that thing off. I don't think it has been replaced because it has been thrown down numerous times. We don't want a fatality to happen on that strip of road. Oh. Well, I rest my case in terms of the safety issues this morning, and maybe as we take a break, then we'll entertain.
I think we will go directly into the calls.
Okay.
Let's go directly into the calls. Let's take our first caller. Caller, good morning, and you're live.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Telesford. Greetings, and to Mr. McIntyre, Mr. Telesford, I beg your humble indulgences because, quote unquote, I ain't nothing else to do. I trust you to understand.
Go ahead, sir.
2 observations and a question to Mr. McIntyre. You know, when I heard you speak of the imbalancing, well, you didn't state whether it was camber or camber. I speak mechanically, yes. But it means the leaning of the tires, right? Whether
yes,
sir. Right?
Camber, yes.
That it happens to you?
Yes.
You should be the person who should lead by getting out in the morning, kicking your tires, observing them and thing. In other words, you say one thing, but it seems that you're doing something else. But that is just, you know.
Just to prove that I'm human as well.
Of course, indeed. Indeed. Secondly, yes. There is this one. You mentioned something about the independence, the inauguration, or the first independence, or the night of the 6th of February, 1974, when you spoke of there being Masanto in the flag raising.
Yes.
No, I think that's a serious mistake that you should seriously reconsider.
Okay.
Because there was no Masanto. That was a threat as a matter. That would have been certainly... that happened being a security risk to have fires on exposed fire in that place. But there were vehicles in it because remember the flag raising things in the principal plaza.
Okay.
Is where it was. And there was quote unquote, you know, Eric Gary was a kind of fella, but he was an organized man. You know what I used to call back then a Delco? Well, it really means a mobile electrical plant.
Yes.
And there was sufficient light. When people talk about the flag was raised in dark, it means because there was general darkness in the country because the electricity service had shut down. But the Prime Minister made, or the then Premier, made provisions to have a quote-unquote Delco Day. He was an organized man and he had to get his thing done. So we had to be careful of these things. But finally, here's my question. The day of the march, the parade in St. George is the so-called Independence Day. there was a salute. And it went like this, excuse me, I was told, by the way, I don't listen to these things these days. You know, when I was younger and I didn't know, I used to go because I used to love to see those policewomen, boy, when they're marching. Royal salute order! You know how they say?
It's present.
Why are we giving a royal salute to there being a politically independent and sovereign nation state? To whom? To which royalty is that? I wonder if you have answers to that, Mr. McIntyre. For what it's worth. Have a nice day, will you, sir?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Citizen Rollo. Thank you for your comments and your observation and all of that. Yeah, and again, people have different reasons why they go to the parade, and he said that was one of his reasons.
Yeah,
he loved to have seen
the female police officer.
Different, gender on the parade. But the royal salute present is really given because we still do have the British representation, but the Governor General, His Majesty's representation on island, and as long as that continues to be, once Grenada has not become a republic and we continue to be one of those Commonwealth places that still observe the presence of the British monarchy, there will be a royal salute.
Okay, we do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Did I be with you all? Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Well. Last month I was going in town. Traveling from Westerhall to town. My dear, the amount of vehicles that was on that road that morning, and you know what it is because of it? Those big, long truck. He had too much a big truck in Grenada now. And the thing now, he handbugging some of those workers that going to work. Because there's a worker from my area that dropped me to on the terminal, and then he go to his work. But I tell you, 7:30, almost 9 o'clock, almost 6 o'clock, no. He had too much a big truck, and watch, you almost let those big truck walk more in the night. In the day, let those workers and them go to work.
All right, thank you.
You all have a wonderful day and enjoy your program.
Thank you so much. Have a good morning. Thanks once again. Let's go back to the phone line. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, and you may have a device playing in the background. I beg of you to have it turned off, please.
Okay, let me move away. Okay, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
I have a question for Mr. McIntyre. As a former police officer, is there a thing called discretion when issuing tickets?
Well, there is something called discretion in law generally. The magistrates are allowed a level of discretion. Police officers are allowed a level of discretion, but discretion is something
I just
you have
wanted
to or not
to relay something that happened about 2 weeks ago in town. I stopped in front of the ATM, communal ATM, on Halifax Street. Left my engine running, and less than 3 minutes I was back out. Went to the ATM, did what I did, came back out. Less than 3 minutes, and a warden was writing up a ticket for me.
Because an offense was committed, sir. And while, yes, discretion...
But there was nobody around that I could ask a question, permission to run inside it.
Right.
Sometimes I would go to the pharmacy high up the road, and the police officers would say, yes, go ahead, don't make it long. Right? But there's this warden writing up, and when I said to her, I said, police officers would normally give permission to people. There were other vehicles parked there. They were not targeted. Right? Yeah, and her response was, oh, I'm nobody. I said, no, I didn't say that. But I said the police officers have the authority and they give permission.
Yeah. So what I want to say on this, permission, discretion is something that you don't teach in schools and colleges, and people would have different levels as to when and how they do it. Yeah. If it's a privilege that is afforded to you, and you can choose to use it, or you may have the ability to use it or not have it. So if somebody chooses not to or chooses to, you may or may not want to. You may be on the benefiting side or on the disadvantaged side. It depends on which side you go. But the bottom line is you have to figure out whether or not what you did was it an offense.
Okay.
And the bottom line, it was yes, and it's unfortunate to meet somebody who did not exercise that discretion to allow you to get up. So when a police officer said, go ahead and so on, he's affording himself a discretion. So it's not because it is a police and a warden, it's just that it's human being who may have some privilege afforded to them and they can use it or not use it.
Yeah.
You may go to the court and there are some magistrates or otherwise who would just decide, the law is the law, I'm going to give you the 5 years. And the law gives you the discretion to give between 2 and 5. And that magistrate may choose to give you the full 5. If somebody else gives the 3, that doesn't mean that magistrate is better than the other one. It's just that.
Just as how they just view the matter in their own discretion. Mm-hmm. We have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes, sir.
Mark my words. Take special note. You should know that no one, forgive me for saying that, should be allowed to leave his vehicle working unattended.
Caller, you have some device in the background that is too loud. Please have it lowered.
The only thing I have working is radio and my phone. So there is no background noise. Anyhow.
But if you have the radio working in the background, it's what is causing this what is causing the feedback that we're receiving, sir.
All right, sir. I look at it as serious thing people have in vehicle working and no one is attending to it. Because somebody could either stole the vehicle or even try to move the vehicle, and the vehicle could be in serious accident, and maybe the police and even the owner could be involved deeply. So I wouldn't say that's right. I don't know if they have any law against that. Two is, I realize that you have a lot to say, and most of the things that you are saying would be right or are right. Now, we have people who have been constantly been put in position which they have held for a number of years. Aren't there many other people who are good and even better than them? I could call names. You have people who are placed in culture, and I can't tell you culture have been developed, but they become seasoned in culture, and consequently they continue to make the same mistake. So we have to put new people into things like culture and other aspects of Grenadian life. Not to keep one person there doing the job for years and we're not making improvement. I can call names, but I don't want to call names. Because some telling me that slavery was abolished in 1834, and this is a lie. The laws were passed in 1834. I could call more. I could say more. So this is what we have to do. We have to change people. When I say change, not for the purpose of changing because we want to change. We have to upgrade all what we have. Whether it be police, whether it be legal people, whether it's scientists or whatever it is, we have to upgrade. And we have people, I think, who are younger and who are perhaps experienced to go with the time you work, Maybe it's how you develop yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much. Mr. McIntyre, we take our final call and then we take a wrap for this morning.
Oh, you have enough time? Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we take our final caller. Caller via WhatsApp. I beg of you to be brief for your final caller. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you. I'm always brief.
Yes, sir.
Yeah? Right. Mr. McIntyre, good morning to you, or good afternoon.
Good morning, sir, wherever you are.
Mr. McIntyre, you're a gentleman and a scholar.
Thanks.
Now, I'm phoning on the behalf of the people of Grenada and myself when I come down there on holiday. Yes. Right? You're absolutely spot on with the traffic and everything like that, and what needs doing and what don't needs doing and stuff like that. Now, GT have had policemen on there, and they can't even answer some of them questions there. And more to the point, they can't even go and say, they don't even say, I don't know nothing about that, but I will contact the relevant department. Yeah, they don't do that at all. You are one hell of a Grenadian person, And God bless you, and God keep you and your family. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller. Have a good morning.
Peace.
So, Mac, about time for us to take a wrap for the morning. We are going over time.
We have gone?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We're over time by at least a couple of minutes. Sir.
All right, so we in the red book?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to thank everyone for supporting this program and for giving us the ideas and the issues. I just want to, because we speak of road safety this morning in general aspects of it, remember that PMCS preventative maintenance checks and services, it is critically important, and we look particularly in ensuring that your braking system is what it should be, and we did give an indication as to how you can ensure that that is so. And if you're in doubt, leave it out, have the expert check it out.
All right. So McIntyre, once again, thank you so much for being on the program this morning and sharing the information. I certainly hope the listeners and viewers, so the information that we shared this morning will take it to heart and get it done, especially in terms of that maintenance part of the vehicle. That is important. You don't want to be driving a defective vehicle for a lengthy period of time. You know what can happen.
Yes.
All right. So until we do this next week again, all the best, sir.
All the best to you and all the best to GBN. Thank you again, GBN. And
let's say thanks to Glen, keeping us, of course,
keeping us rehydrated. Thank you, Glen.
Thanks so much. Hey, folks, that's what we say goodbye for this edition of To The Point. Join me again tomorrow for another. Have a good one, folks. That's what we say goodbye.